Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 2 in our series with Blender, how to make assets for Cities Skylines in Blender. And I hope you already watched episode number 1 where I showed you how to set up Blender in the same way that I do, in an efficient and optimized way, let's say. And today I'm going to discuss with you a couple of very important techniques that once you're going to start modeling assets, those are the things that you will use most of the time, and it's important to know how to use them properly. I'm not gonna go over the most extremely basic things like how to move something, how to scale something, because there's a million videos out there. So we're just gonna focus on the most important things. However, this video is structured into 3 parts. First part will be discussing all those things here on the screen. Second part, we're gonna discuss a little bit about triangles, quads, n-gons, and how to optimize assets for Cities Skylines. And in the third part of the video, we're gonna do a little bit of modeling where we will also discuss a bit about the basic functions, but stick till the end, and I promise you once you finish this video, you will pretty much have a good understanding about everything related to modeling, and you will be pretty much capable of modeling quite a lot of things. Of course, it goes without saying, you shouldn't only watch me doing all those things. You should open Blender as well, and you should try all those things because your brain needs to understand. You need to teach your brain to use those things, to use those functions. Like if you just watch the video, it's not gonna help at all. So yeah, definitely experiment and try yourself. All right, so let's start with the first thing, how to snap things. I told you in the previous video to set up the snapping like this, so basically you don't have to turn it on and off like that. You are just basically holding control. Whenever you want to enable the snapping feature, you just hold control. And I set it to vertex and edge center. All right, so if we're going to edit mode, we have this little cube here. So let's say we want to move this cube right over here, like right in this corner. So basically the back corner here will be right in this corner here. So what we can do is by moving on the x-axis and holding control key to enable snapping, I'm just gonna hover the mouse over this vertex here. All right, so now if we look from this front orthographic view, we can see that we are aligned here. And then I'm gonna move it like this to cross that vertex, and then hold control and move it there. All right, now what about if we want to position this cube, the middle of this cube, right in the middle of this cube? So right in the middle of this. How would we do that? Well, here is the thing. We have over here on the transform pivots, we have individual origins. Well, already we can actually snap to the edge center. So basically when we hold control and we hover the mouse, we can see the edge center, basically the center of this entire edge here, because we set it here with edge center, right? So what we gotta do is find the middle of this edge, or whatever edge, and align that with the middle of this edge. And for that, we go here to individual origins, and if we hover the mouse, it's gonna show pivot around each object's own origin. Basically the center, the origin of this little cube is in the middle. So basically that's what we are pivoting around. So if we enable that, and now we hover in the middle and we hold control to enable snapping, we are right there in the middle, and we can do the same. Now basically we have to find the middle of this edge, so we are going to move on this axis and hold control and snap it there. And right now we are exactly in the dead center of the other cube. So that's how snapping works. Usually you do a combination of bounding box or individual origins, and the same goes for individual faces. So yeah, very useful. All right, let's move on to dissolve and delete. It's probably quite easy to figure out. Like we can just select the face and press X to open the menu for delete, and we can just delete the face, an edge, vertices, and so on. So we can, if you want to get rid of this face, we can press X and then select face. But let's say we want to delete this edge. We go to delete and then edge. Now see what happens. Because we deleted the edge, it's deleting everything that's connected to that edge. So basically those faces have this edge in common, so they will get deleted as well. If you don't want to do that and you want to keep the faces, you dissolve the edge. So basically you press X and then you dissolve the edge. So now we are left with the face. A quicker way to do that is in every mode that you are, vertex, edge or face mode, you can quickly press Ctrl X instead of opening the menu and then selecting. Ctrl X will always be dissolve, you can see here. Let's move on to something a bit more interesting, the extrude thing. So with extrude, you probably already know that you can just select the face, press E to extrude, and then you move your mouse. Or you can just press E once, click. So now we have duplicate faces here, and then you can just move, all right? So that's one way. Another thing is you can extrude to mouse cursor. So basically if we go into front orthographic, as you can see here, you can hold Control and then right click, and you're gonna make an extrusion to that area. So something like this, let's say. This might be useful for whatever you do, but I just figured I would show you. Now, here is an interesting thing. Let's say I wanna extrude all this face, all this selected ring. I wanna extrude it outwards in every direction. How would I do that? If I press E to extrude, as you can see, it doesn't work. So what we have to do, each face has a normal in which direction the vertices point. Basically, each face has its own direction. Okay, so if we select all those and then press Alt E to open the extrude menu, we can extrude faces along normals. So we can do that. And see, now we extruded in this way. I also want to show you that you can extrude individual faces. So basically we selected all of those, but each one of them will be extruded, not all of them together. So you can do this as well. Okay. And here is another very useful thing that you need to know, and you will use it a lot. Let's say I have those faces and I want to extrude them downwards. If I press E and extrude downwards, it's going to create this weird thing here, because it's basically extruding and it keeps that face. Now, obviously you can clean this up and it takes time, very annoying. But instead of that, what you can do is press Alt E and extrude manifold. And if you move the cursor down, well, yeah, it's just the shading issue. So if you move this down, now it just extrudes properly, and you can see that we have individual faces here and everything is completely clean. A very, very useful thing. I use it a lot. Okay. Now let's discuss about merging. So what we have here is one face that is split from the original cube. To do that, basically you just press Y on your keyboard, and it's basically detaching the face from the model. So we can see this over here as well. I press Y and now it's completely detached. Now what happens when I place it back? Okay, now it looks like everything is connected. However, you cannot see, but the vertices of this face, basically those vertices, are overlapped with the vertices that are here. Okay, so if we do it like that, if I just randomly click over here on a vertex and press G to move, you can see that we have different vertices. So a way to clean that would be to select all three of them that are on top of each other and merge them together, basically glue them together in the same place. So to do that, we go into wireframe mode, select everything here, and then press M to merge at center. All right, and now if we go back and we click here, you can see that it's one single vertex. But remember that we split this face and we also split this face, right? So what do we do now? Like, it would be crazy to go and fix every single vertex. What you can do is select everything. Let me just go into wireframe mode here and select only those. And what we can do is press M and merge by distance. And basically there is a threshold here. Everything that is lower than 0.1 millimeters will get merged, will get fused together. So we can just do that. Wait, did I do it? Yeah, I did. Okay. So now as you can see, everything is completely merged. This is really useful, and usually I do this every time I finish a model for Cities Skylines. All right. And one more thing that I should show you is merge at last. So let's say for whatever reason you wanna move this vertex on top of this one. Let's say you want to do something like this, okay? Instead of just doing the normal way, snapping and then going to wireframe, selecting both and merging them, you can do, what you can do is select the first one, select the second one, and then press M and merge at last. So basically first one, last one. So we merge at the last one. And now they are one single point. Okay, very useful to know. Okay, now let's look at J versus F. What does this mean? Well, F means fill. So if we select this edge and we press F, it's gonna fill this entire area with the face, okay? Now, obviously, if you think about it, what happens if we select this edge and this edge? I'll let you think about it, but what's gonna happen is it's gonna form a triangle because we selected, if we go into vertex mode, we can see that we basically selected this vertex with this one, and if you press F, it's gonna form a face between those. Same, if we go and select this edge and this edge, think about which vertices are connected right now, selected. This one, this one, this one, and this one, and we can check, okay? And if you press F, this is what we get, okay? But let's say we want to fill like this. So in the same way, I have two vertices here, okay? And I want to connect them and basically have two separate faces after I connect them to have two individual faces. Well, obviously I select both of them and press F, and look at that, I have two faces. However, wrong, because F fills the space between the vertices with an edge. However, that edge is on top of the faces. You can't see that, but it's on top, it's separated. Okay, so instead of that, what we have to do is select the vertices and press J, okay? And with J, we basically join them like that. And now we can see that we have individual faces. And you can do it anywhere, like we can make a J here, and we see we have two faces. We can do from here to here, J. We can see we have those faces, and yeah, that is when you should use J and when you should use F. Now let's get to more interesting things. The transform, orientation, and edge slide. Okay, so in this example we did, for this one I did the same exact thing. I extruded along normals and we got this ring. The ring is detached from the original cylinder. Basically I can move it. So see, it's just empty. However, I want to move it. Basically I rotate the cylinder in a random position and I want to move it up and down. Let's say I want to place it on the bottom and on the top and on the bottom. Now, how do we do that? Because obviously I don't have any axis which goes in that direction. So it would be insane to go and try to position it like this manually. Okay, so what we can do is we can go to transform orientations and we can go to normal. All right, so like I told you, each face has its own normals. So if we select this one, we're gonna have see, this is the white one. This is the selected face. And we see here the normals for this face. If we select this one at the last, basically they are in the same direction, but that's the idea. Now we can see for this one, it's in a different way. But let's go like this, and then we go, well, what did I do? I have it set on individual origins. Sorry, you need to set it to active element. My bad. So basically, this is the active element now, and we are moving the entire thing on the normals of this element. So now we can go like that. Okay. And if you want to change to, I don't know, maybe this one. Oh, whoa. Make this the active element. Well, the normals are facing in the same way, but it's a different face and it has its own normals, so that's the way to do it. Now here is another thing. We have the normals for this face and I want to move it lower like that. Well, in this case we can use it like this, but I want to show you what edge slide does. Basically you can take a vertex and press G and then G again, so G to move. You press it twice. And now you can see that we have those yellow lines. So basically I can slide the vertex on this yellow edge. And you can do it in all of the connecting edges around the vertex, okay? So we can do the same over here. Basically, I can press GG and we are gonna slide on the edges that it finds. All right, so you can see the line there. However, you can see that once I reach the bottom, it stops. Well, it shrinks like that because we have a face. So let me just get rid of the face and let me just select all this. Let's go back, GG, and see, it doesn't let me continue here. However, you can press C to constrain that, and now we can go further with this. So we can move it all the way there. This will be extremely useful once we start texturing and UV unwrapping, because you're gonna see, like, if you have a wall, for example, let's imagine that this is a wall, I don't know, and you want to continue the wall but not destroy the texture. You can press G and G and continue the wall in that direction. Well, I can show you here better. So we can't go further. Basically, I'm gonna hold C and now I can continue, and the texture is gonna repeat on the model. So that is extremely useful. Now, speaking about the transform orientation, this is very useful thing to know. We have this little house here, okay? And I want to make a roof. So I select this thing and I press E to extrude and I go up a little bit, okay? And now I want to continue this this face here. I want it to move it to extrude it a bit outwards. Like I want an edge for the roof, right? And no matter what I select here, active element, no matter what I select, I will always get the normals for this face, and that is very annoying because I can't position it properly. So basically what I want to do is extrude, and let me just show you what I want. So the outcome is something like this, right? However, we can't do that. So what you can do instead, we can grab the orientation of this face, and to do that we basically hit the plus sign here, and it says create transformation orientation from selection. So basically we make a custom one. So we click on that and now the orientation is selected to face, and basically whatever you select now, as you can see, the orientation is still the same as this one. So now we can select this face and press extrude and move it on the x-axis because this is the one facing like that, and now it is perfectly continuing the other direction. And we can use the same trick here, grab this orientation, and now we move here and gx on that axis, and there we go, we have a roof. Also, another cool thing which I forgot to discuss about is inset. Inset does exactly this thing that you see here, and I press I on the keyboard to do that. So let's do it on both windows. Well, first of all, let's actually move those windows a little bit forward like that, and now we select them and we press I to inset, okay, and now we extrude again. So basically we created this frame around the windows. It's usually I use this inset quite a lot of times, so I figured I should show you. Let's move on to knife, loop cuts, spin, and bridge. So if we have this rectangle box here, we can press Ctrl R to add loop cuts, and with the scroll wheel I can select how many. In case I fucked up and I did like this, I can increase the number of cuts by using this thing, and then you basically just click to confirm, and there you have it. Now what happens if, for example, whenever you add a loop cut, it's always going to be in the middle, okay? So let's say I confirm, click, yes, I want a loop cut, and for some reason I slide it, like my mouse slipped and I moved it here, but I want it dead center. All right, what you can do is Control Z. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Sorry. So my mouse slipped, right, and I haven't confirmed yet. What you can do is right click on the mouse button, and it's gonna reset to the center. So right click, and there you have it, right in the center. So one more time, Control R, yes, I click one time to confirm, and oops, my mouse slipped, but I still want it in the center. So right click and it's returning to the center. This saved me a lot of time, so you should know about it. Okay, so knife tool. Basically we can take the knife and we can make cuts like those. Basically it's gonna cut whatever it sees in the image. So if we go into front orthographic, we're gonna cut on those two edges, because this is what the knife sees. So if we press enter to confirm, you can see that we made a cut there. However, how do we make a cut that is completely straight? Well, basically we start here and we press C. You can see here on the bottom, angle constraint. So we constrain it and you can see that it snaps. So it snaps to vertical, 45 degree and horizontal. So we can just press enter and there we made the cut. Now, what if we want to cut through the entire model? So once again, I constrain it, and if you look here, Z, cut through. So I enable Z, so now it is on, you can see here, and I press enter. Whoa, sorry, I had to click. So C and Z, click to confirm, enter. And now you can see that we made the cut around the entire object. This is again something that's really, really useful to know. Okay, let's discuss the spin tool. So it's this scary thing here. And how does this work? Well, basically it spins around where you position the cursor. The cursor is this thing. So basically I hold shift and I right click. Okay, so let's say we want to make an arch here. What we want to do is like just eyeball this edge, make it somewhere here. So basically leave some distance, okay? And we can take the spin tool and we need to figure out the correct axis to spin around. So obviously this is not the correct one and this is the correct one. So basically we are going to spin in that direction to the right. Okay, and we can just grab this and spin. Now you can hold control and you're going to spin in increments, which is really useful. And let's say you fucked up. Let's say you let your mouse go. So we can go here in the menu and we can go 90 degree and enter. Okay, that's wrong. We go in the other direction, minus 90. Okay, that looks good. What if we want 180? Well, that's wrong. So we go minus 180. And there you go. We can just go now and go back to this mode, press E to extrude, go down, and there we go. We have an arch. Much easier to make arches is with the bridge edge loops. And let me show you what I mean. So let's make a duplicate here. Okay, and let's say I want to create an arch between those two faces. So what you can do is select the first face, select the last face, and then we press 2 to go into edge mode, and then we right click and we go to bridge edge loops. This is extremely useful. It looks funky now, but if we increase the number of cuts, this is where we get with. This is what we get with. So we can increase the smoothness to make it up or down, and once you're happy, you just select something else, and yeah, you made the confirmation. This is extremely useful when you want to make pipes, for example. So you can select this one and this one, go back into edge mode by pressing 2, and then we select bridge edge loops. Looks funky, right? We increase the number of cuts, let's say something like that. And if you don't like the curvature, we can just increase the smoothness, make it, I don't know, whatever you want. So this is very, very useful. And yeah, a combination of those tools like spin and bridge edge loops is really, really useful because, for example, let's say, where is it? Let's say I want to continue in this direction, like make a curve there, right? So what we do is go into top view because we want to place the cursor here, right? So shift right click to place the cursor, select the spin tool. What axis? This is not good. We need to see it. So Z axis, this is the one. So basically we just take one of those plus signs and hold control, and you can look right here. See my cursor? Like you can look at the angle there. Like once I hit 90, I'm happy. Okay. And we go back to this select box. Okay. And now we can press E to extrude and we go in that direction. See, it's very, very simple. All right, let's move on to the next one. I'm talking a lot so fast and I'm not catching air and I'm running out of breath. Anyway, so we have the distribute objects. This is an add-on that's extremely useful. You will use it a lot, I'm pretty sure. So let's say you have those little cubes here, okay, those three, and you want this one to be right in the middle of those two. Okay, now how do you do that? Because there is no way to eyeball it or you have no guidance, let's say. So what you can do is turn each of those cubes into its own object. So to do that, you press P and then selection, okay? However, we also need to set the origin of this object in the center. And you go to object, set origin, origin to geometry, okay? Basically, it represents where the center of this object is. And once again, we select the entire cube, press P to make a selection. And we select this one, press P, make a selection. And now let's not forget, object, set origin, origin to geometry, origin to geometry. And now we have 3 separate cubes. Okay, so we can select the first one, second one, last one, distribute objects, and on which axis do you want to distribute them? On X axis, okay? And we click OK, and there we go. Now this one is perfectly in the center of those two. Very, very useful. And now we can just go back, select all of them, select this one, and press Ctrl J to join them together. So now they are, again, one single object. All right, let's continue with selection. It's very important, and it's going to make your life easier if you know how to select things quickly. So for example, if we go into this, this cylinder here, let's say I want to extrude every single face, every other face, and I want it to extrude it along normals and make like some sort of a gear or whatever. All right, so how to, instead of clicking each and every one like this, because you're gonna go insane while you do that, we can select the entire ring. I just hold Alt key and I select everything, and we can go to select, checker, deselect, okay? And we have some options here. So basically we can shift which ones do you want. We can do the offset and so on. And now we can press extrude faces along normal. So we can do something like that, and we can scale them down and whatever. Okay, that's very useful. Checker, deselect. And I want to show you one more time the select, the one with Alt key, which is called loop select. Basically, let's look at this face. If I click with Alt key on the edge here, it's basically going to select this row. If I select over here, if I click over here, it's going to select downwards. So you can check, see, like that, versus if I see where I click. This is really useful. And now let's say we want to select this row as well, this row as well, and this one as well. So basically I hold shift to make multiple selections. So basically if you hold shift here, see, like you're gonna select multiple. Okay, so one more time, I select that row. Now I hold shift, you can look here by the way, and I'm gonna move the mouse here. Basically I want to go in this direction. Okay, click there, and click here. Okay, same way if you want to go down like that. So basically I hold Alt and Shift and just click the bottom part. Okay, this is really useful. Another really useful one is to hold Control, and basically it's gonna from here to here. However, it's gonna pick the shortest path. So over here, unfortunately, we have this face and this one and this one. So it's always gonna choose like the path of least resistance. But if you can try here, for example, and if you keep looking at this row, okay, so it follows like this edge here, and we can click Control here. See, it's very easy to do it like this. Okay, let me think. There is one more interesting thing, the Shift G menu. So let's say on this little apartment block that I did, I want to select all of the windows quickly. Instead of doing it with Shift key like this, because it takes time, okay, what you can do is press select one and press Shift G and select similar. Select similar by area. And well, for some reason, those ones have the same area, but you get the idea. So those faces share the same area. So very quickly to select like this. So let's try with those, which should select exactly those ones, I think. So let's click that one and area, and you can see it selects all those. Another useful one that you will use it a shit ton of times is select linked. If I press L for select linked, it's gonna select the entire apartment block here. Okay, and what is this thing doing? Basically, this thing here, why didn't this get selected? Because this thing here is separated. It's not connected in any way with this object. Well, they are the same object, but the model. Okay, so if you press L, we select this, and if we want to select this as well, we can just hover it and press L again. Okay, select linked, like this, for example, as well. Those cubes are separated from this one. They're not connected in any way, so we can press L, 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 and we can move them around. Okay. One more thing that I want to show you is, let's say we have some loop cuts here, and let's say for some weird reason you fucked up the geometry, something like that. Okay, and you want to fix it, you want to make it a straight line, so you select everything, all right, and what you do, this is the z-axis, you press S, Z, so S for scale, Z to constrain on the z-axis, and then press 0, and then press enter. Okay, so now we fix that. However, a quicker way is by using my own custom menu, and you press D to open it, and then flat Z. Bam, easy. I will talk more about my add-on, but there's already a video, you should check it out. It does increase the workflow. Okay, now let's move on to triangles, quads, and optimization.